Kia ora, everyone. So what we are looking at today is we're looking at viruses. So by the end of this, you should be able to have an idea of the structure of viruses and of the how they replicate. Well, basically what their life processes are, even though they're not technically alive. First up, we said that viruses aren't technically living because they don't have most of the processes that we associate with life. So they don't have nutrition, and they don't have any sort of excretion, anything other than just replication, which is what they basically do. They're basically just a little bit of DNA or RNA, a bit of genetic material, which tries to replicate itself by hijacking other living cells to do all of that work for them. They're very tiny, much smaller than a cell, much smaller than you could see. Even with a conventional microscope, you'd need an electron microscope for this. So one of the reasons that they need a cell to do a lot of the work for it. So a cell has things called ribosomes. Ribosomes are a factory which basically turns our DNA, our genetic material, our blueprint, into proteins. It sort of reads them and creates a protein from that. So they aren't able to do that. And to make more viruses, they need those proteins. They need more genetic material and they need more proteins. And that's why they need a cell to be able to do that. There's lots of different types of viruses. So this is a bacteriophage. It has your genetic material up here. And this is the capsid, and it has this really sort of looks like an alien kind of thing, a mechanism which helps it to attach to a bacterial cell. That's why it's called a bacteriophage, and injects its genetic material into it. It is a really important part of the ecosystems of the ocean because it stops there from getting too many bacteria. So that basically kills off up to half of all bacteria are killed by bacteriophages. There's rabies, the one that causes sort of frothing at the mouth and can kill people. And it has a sort of a protein which sort of keeps all of the nuclear material, all of the genetic material in shape, as well as protection proteins and glycoproteins, which help to get it into a particular cell. This is your normal flu virus, and note that it's got the protective capsid or protein layer here. It's got its genetic material here, but it's also got a cell membrane out here, which helps it to get into cells. And also has little receptors on the end here, and they basically act like a lock and a key. If they find the right receptor on a cell, then the cell will basically let them in by sort of absorbing them in. So every virus will have genetic material, which is what it needs in order to get its proteins and genetic material made. This is what it's trying to replicate. And it will have a protein coat, which helps it to survive outside of a cell and helps it to get inside a cell. Some of them might have spikes, which will help to get out or into a cell. Some of them will have a lipid layer, so that's the cell membrane that I was talking about, which will again help to protect, but also to help it to get into its host cell so that it can replicate. So that's the key thing. So the genetic material has all of the instructions to make everything